One early Friday morning I was on my way to school when I met with Max Galoiga and that other hippie fool, and they were humping bags of cider like a Brit would hold his gun. And I watched the grins grow wider at the rising of the sun. And I asked them were they mad as they huddled at the door, and just said, Pip, you should have seen the crack we'd had the night before. And I was barely 15 years and looking to break free. I had had enough of childhood, it had had enough of me. And I didn't need convincing when the bottle was passed round. And I dropped the books and watched the bus head out towards the town. And when that day was gone, my life had changed forever. I was never where I wanted to be. I hung out with trees in all kinds of weather, and I chanced my arm at drink in the sea. Well, it wouldn't be the last time that me head spun to the ground. At first I heard the laughter, and then I couldn't hear a sound. When I woke up it was dark and there was nobody around. I was lying in the hedgerow and the rain was pissing down. Oh, but still in all my eyes had been open. Now I felt that I was coming up for air. Sacred water offered wisdom, strength and hope, and every bottle brought me up and I was there. So I put my faith in punk and teenage dreams. I fell in love with cider and the cold psychotic screams. See, back then I loved to hate the world, I'd wake up with a frown. I hoped that God would come along and turn it upside down. We'd sing the songs on Friday night, throw bottles at the wall. And I hoped that this would change my life, that music say it all. And when that top came off, my soul started talking. I and everyone around me understood. Where the bubbles were, that's where I started walking. Oh, and every bottle brought me up, and that was good. And I know that I should say, looking back I feel regret, but I have a million memories too precious to forget. But I must have been asleep when someone opened up the sky, when they tore away my scalp and put in the evil eye. When I awoke, my sheets were soaked, the sweat was dripping from me bed. There were needles in my eyes and the worm was in my head. Oh, I jumped right up and then I felt a different kind of pain. And I knew that things would never ever be the same again. I sat on the 13th stair until the sun moved to the west, and I prayed into my hair until the demon wanted rest. When morning came, I fell asleep. It must have been 2 days. I walked strange halls, I punched the walls, got lost inside a maze. But it must have been when I was dreaming, angels came and stopped their screaming, gathered soft around my bed. They touched my brow and held my head. Praise God. Well, it's hard to stand beside a man who isn't really there. So as friends departed one by one, I gave a careless stare. My mind was spent on other things, like the cold inverted doubt, as I thought the thought that might suggest there's only one way out. And the walls had closed all around me, I was lost and no one found me. Swam the shore and fought for air, and thank God there was no one there, thank God. I'd have worshipped at her feet, I would have took her as my wife. I'd have pledged my very soul and then laid down my very life. Oh, but all that stood for nothing as my mind slipped into hell, and I lost her to the real world where saner men do dwell. Then my mind was filled with thoughts of violence, screamed into the empty silence, threw away her juggling balls, and I tore the posters from my walls. But angels came and stopped the slaughter, showered me in holy water. They pushed away the devil's dance and handed me a second chance. Praise God.